Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 267. I am Brennan. UFC 288 Sterling versus Cejudo prelims here, okay? So this is going to cover the fight between Frevola versus Dober, and then the rest of the prelims. We're going to break them all down round by round. If you're looking for the main card main event, that's in the last video. Real quick, before we do get started, I'd appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to the channel so it'll let you know when the next video is coming out. So if you like this stuff, it'll inform you, and it does help me out, so I do appreciate it. Let's get going. Oh boy, I like Drew Dober a lot, and this sucked. Frevola just outlanded him. It just tested the chin one too many times, and Dober's chin couldn't hold up. I'm not mad at the stoppage. We'll talk about it when we get to it. So Frevola landing a couple body kicks early. Dober landing a stiff jab. Frevola landing some hard right hands, and then Dober pressing in, being the aggressor, staying on him. Dober finding the left hand to the body early. Dober landing a left up top, then a hard shot to the body. Frevola is landing in bursts as he rushes off the cage. A nice Superman punch from Frevola. Frevola was outlanding him, even though Dober was the aggressor. The Frevola, he lands a hard right hand, following up with some decent ground and pound, and that was it. Right, so he lands his big right hand that puts Dober down. Dober's upset about the stoppage. It looks like he was still defending himself, but he was getting tagged down there. So I understand why he got stopped, because the strike right before it's hard, right, when you go in for the stoppage, because you go in for a stoppage, or you're about to, or you're thinking about going for a stoppage based off of the information that you're seeing, and then you go in, and then all of a sudden the guy's defending himself now, and he's back. He's got his wits about him, and that's kind of what happened here. Dober took a big shot. Clearly, Herb Dean was like, okay, I'm stepping in here. I've had enough. And by the time he got in there to stop it, it was a little bit too late, right? It wasn't a late stoppage necessarily. It was just his mind. Use your brain logically. No, it's hard. I'm not mad at him. I thought the stoppage was warranted. I think it's fine. Now, I also understand from Dober. Hey, yo, Doobie Doober. Fucking stupid. I understand from Dober's point of view why he would have been upset about it, but also just thinking like, hey, I'm in control of my body. I'm in control of my defense. I still have my wits about me. Why are you stopping this fight? So I get both sides of it, and ultimately the decision was made to stop the fight. So we can't really this one isn't going to go, like, this is not controversial. I don't think it was an early stoppage or anything like that. I just think it's an unfortunate situation where, had he stepped in one punch earlier, maybe Dober maybe we're not all upset. If he lets it go a little bit longer, maybe Dober gets finished more convincingly, and then we can all be happy about it. But it's one of those things where Frevola looks great. I'm happy for him. Was Drew Dober ranked before this weekend? I actually don't know. He was ranked number 14. God dang, every time he gets up there, he just can't hold it. Oh, that sucks. Frevola is doing a great job as of late, stepping up in competition here, obviously against Drew Dober, a ranked opponent, but he had the loss to Arman Tsarukyan and Terrence McKinney. Those are hard losses to really good opponents. And then you got Genaro Valdez, who's okay, whatever. And then Atman Azayitar, and that's a good win, especially because of the knockout. And then he gets another knockout over Drew Dober. So he's on a 3 knockout win streak here. It's hard to deny him. Either he's in the rankings next week, or he's on the cusp, and he'll be fighting another ranked opponent soon. So good for Frevola. I don't dislike the guy. I like his name, Steamroller Frevola. I like that stuff. I like the way he fights. I think he's an interesting character. Interesting in that, like, he's very open. He's like covering his weight gain and weight loss and stuff based off of the fight week. I think that's kind of cool. There's nothing to dislike here except that Drew Dober loses, and I'm never a fan of that. I do like Drew Dober quite a bit. Oh man, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Devin Clark. Okay, now. This fight went exactly how every one of Kennedy's fights goes. Clark landed some low kicks. Clark worked for the double, but Kennedy got right back up. Kennedy landed a couple good shots of his own against the fence. Clark landed a hard right hand. Kennedy backs up, does not like that. Clark starts unloading so many hard shots, just starts unloading on him. Kennedy landing a ton of elbows right behind the ear. I don't know how Clark isn't out, to be honest with you. Kennedy ends the round doing tons of damage. I actually gave this first round to Kennedy. He outstruck him 41-25. Early in the round, Clark wasn't able to do much, but then midway, Clark landed that hard right hand, put him back, and then started unloading damage. But, everybody does this against Kennedy. Kennedy, he's very good. He's tall, so people have to reach up, so it takes a little bit of steam off their punch. And on top of that, he keeps his guard tight, and he just lets you punch yourself out. You got to stay more disciplined, and Devin Clark wasn't. He was clearly tired in the second round. Kennedy got right in the clinch, landed some good shots against the cage. Kennedy was pressuring hard. Clark desperate to counter, but he just wasn't able to get it done. Clark goes for the takedown and gets caught in a guillotine, and that was the end of it. Kennedy's really good for a light heavyweight because, we need light heavyweights in here. I could see him breaking into the rankings after this weekend. Listen, he's got 3 wins: Carl Roberson, Iwan Kutalaba, and then Devin Clark here, all by finish. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean he's the next big thing at light heavyweight? No, he's got a lot of weaknesses. But at light heavyweight, we're kind of starving for some new standouts here. And he's on a 3-fight win streak. Maybe he gets in here, I don't know if he's going to be ahead of Justin Jacoby or somebody. I don't know who we're going to bounce out. Maybe he definitely fights a ranked opponent next, and maybe we can get him into the title picture, just getting some attention on him. I think he's an interesting puzzle to solve because he's so damn tall. And he's got some decent skills. And a good chin. So I think at light heavyweight that we need more contenders, and I'm happy that we have one. All right, I don't know why he came in. Sorry, Chaos Williams came in to fight Rolando Bedoya on short notice. Bedoya, short notice anyway. And what was interesting is that he came out as Kalinn Williams, which I'm guessing is his real name, maybe? I don't know. But Chaos is what I know him as. So if I say Williams or Chaos or Kalinn, I'm talking about the same guy. So I apologize if that makes him mad or makes anybody angry. I don't know what the deal was. Leg kicks from Bedoya early. Williams gets close enough and lands some hard shots to the body. Then Chaos was swinging his way in, but also taking some counters as he enters. Williams was able to do some damage to the lead leg. Williams not walking him down as much, and then he was waiting to counter. I thought Williams was going to walk away with this one. Bedoya with more output and counters that aren't bad. He's doing really well. Bedoya, it was going 1-for-1. I think I gave this round to Williams. I felt like he landed the bigger shots. If you look at the striking numbers, they're dead even, 40-44. If you say, hey, well, they both landed the same amount of damage, then the person who's attempting more is going to win some because there was very little control time, and Chaos Williams had that as well. So I gave him this first round. He outstruck him, outdamaged him. He did a better job. So I easily give, even though the striking numbers are even, I easily give this round to Chaos Williams. Trading low kicks to start the second round. Williams rushes as Bedoya starts countering again. Bedoya landing a nice right hand as Williams enters. They get in close and they trade in that distance. They trade low kicks. So they get in close and they're trading hooks, and then they get at distance and they start kicking each other's legs. This was similar to the first round, but Bedoya landed the harder shots this round, I felt. Again, 39-40, very close round. If you gave this to Chaos Williams, even though he landed one less strike, I could understand it, especially being the aggressor, but I felt like Bedoya actually landed more damage with the strikes that he landed. So I gave this round to Bedoya. I had it 19-19. Close. Bedoya was landing some really good hooks. And Williams lands right back at him. Getting into kind of a slobber knocker as they get a little bit tired here. Williams landing a hard right hand, then a nice right from Bedoya. Williams much slower and plotting with his movements in this round than he was earlier in the fight. Bedoya moves in on the clinch. Bedoya landing some low kicks, and it is showing with Williams' movement being compromised. Williams still moving forward, landing hard shots and his own leg kicks. I think Bedoya did enough in this last round to win it. I I know we'll go over the scorecards here in a second. I gave it to Bedoya 29-28 because I gave him the second round and then this list. I thought he did for sure won this last round, 65-47 for significant strikes. Now, let's look at some scorecards, shall we? Yeah. Okay. So, Chaos Williams on 2 scorecards gets the first and second round from Mike Bell, who, again, I've always said I disagree with all the time. I talked about it earlier. I disagree with a lot, but I understand it. That makes sense. Dominic Caroli, he also gave the first 2 rounds to Williams. Understandable. Now, they're clearly giving the first round, giving all 3 rounds to Bedoya. Now, that's weird. See, this one is still defensible, but that first round was pretty close. The first round was close for the striking numbers. I just felt like Williams was doing everything that he was supposed to do, and Bedoya was just reacting and not reacting well. The second round here, obviously, I gave it to Bedoya, and then the third round I did as well. But the second round, I could see going either direction. Not a bad decision. Not upset about that. I think Williams, I mean, this is one of 2 things. Either Williams is like a middling guy or Bedoya really has it, or a little bit of both. All right, moving on. Marina Rodriguez versus Virna Jandiroba. All right, then. This fight wasn't the most exciting fight to watch. Virna got the slow double leg early, and that was pretty much the entire round. All right, Virna attempting a Kimura at one point, but mostly just position. If you look at the striking numbers here, 7-4 in favor of Rodriguez, and that's when they were standing on the feet. But the control time really tells the story. 4 minutes and 36 seconds of control time for Jandiroba. It's not the most interesting thing to watch. It's just positional advantage. Second round here, Virna in on the clinch and the takedown attempts immediately. Virna going for the leg lock, getting into top position, and then another round of that. So she picked it up slightly, 11-5 for striking numbers, but 4 minutes and 6 seconds of advantage on the ground again. So easily her first 2 rounds, 20-18. Last round here, Virna was not going for the takedown early this time. We have some striking. So Marina was opening up and landing pretty well. Virna went for the takedown, lacing the legs, squeezing the hips. Marina was landing about 6 up kicks, damaging her from her back, and Virna did nothing but hold her down that round. So the commentary team was talking about how Jandiroba clearly won this last round. I don't think so, guys. Yeah, she had control time. She had 3 minutes and 20 seconds of control time, but she landed very little strikes, 21-12 in favor of Rodriguez. And those last up kicks, she landed like 4 or 5 of them from the ground right to the face of Jandiroba, looking to almost rock her at one point. So as far as damage goes, that's a number 1 scoring criteria. Jandiroba clearly didn't do any in this round. How do you not give it to Rodriguez, right? And those total strikes got to count for something too. I know they're not significant or whatever, but 70-26. They add up. And yes, all other things being equal, these little pity-pat strikes do count for something. All other things being equal. When they're not equal, right, then it's whoever has more significant strikes. But Rodriguez led in every category except for control time. I don't see them. I don't see why we can't give her that last round. Mike Bell agrees with me. Look at that. So weird. Normally I disagree with him. But good job, Mike Bell. Dominic Caroli again, and then Mayamuna Kirova gives all 3 rounds to Jandiroba. Clearly not fucking paying attention. That's just a guy who fell asleep at the keyboard. So there's that. Whatever. All right, let's move on, shall we? Braxton Smith versus Parker Porter. Oh boy, this was interesting. Braxton Smith, he came out hard. I'll give him that. He came out hard. I apparently there was some hype on him for whatever reason coming to the UFC. Sure. And dude, very rarely do I see this. He took 2 steps and threw this right hand like he was throwing an overhand pitch. Like he was like launching a football with that right hand. That's how obvious he was with it and how hard he was trying to throw it. Woo! He landed it one time, but not flush, apparently. Smith was winding up, taking steps, throwing the hardest fastball right hand I've ever seen. Standing in front of each other, just swinging away. Parker's actually getting the jab and the uppercut going, and Parker Porter started to outland him, and Smith got tired. 3 minutes and 20 seconds are on the clock, meaning we have been in the fight for 1 minute and 40 seconds, and Braxton Smith was gassed out. Okay, so Smith starts, Smith, goes for a takedown or something, and whatever happened, but Porter ends up on top of him. He just walks over into mount, gets a TKO finish. Smith really thought that he would just go in there, land one punch, and it would be over. That is not the case all the time, big guy. You gotta be ready for when that doesn't happen. You gotta be able to change it up. It's not that you can't throw hard shots every now and then, but every single one, especially if you don't have the cardio to do it, dude, you gotta chill with that shit. You gotta chill. It's serious. If you got the cardio, then you go for it. But if you don't, Phil Hawes versus Ikram Aliskerov. Aliskerov gets the win here. They were trading low kicks early. I thought Hawes looked really good. He was landing this nice check hook early, doing some good damage. Great kick to the body. Hawes hurt him with a right hand, but then Hawes looks amazing and then took a hard right hand that put him to sleep. Just put him right to sleep from Aliskerov. Phil Hawes was looking good until he wasn't. And then Aliskerov calls out Bo Nickel. And then DC says that Bo Nickel isn't ready for that smoke. So, okay. Maybe we see that now. Whatever. I always get weird when these, the up-and-comers call each other out. But it's like I never understand. I guess I just don't understand that side of the business. It just always comes off as kind of cringy to me. Like the way that they call him out. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. It's part of the game. Joseph Holmes versus Claudio Ribeiro. Holmes missed weight before this. I think, what did he weigh in at? Yeah, I don't know what he weighed in at. But he missed weight for sure. Holmes landed a stiff jab to start, and missing really big on that right hand. He was swinging it hard. He stomps the knee. Hard low kicks from Holmes. Ribeiro was just chasing around, really trying to close the distance. Ribeiro landed a couple of hard hooks and then got the takedown. The rest of the round was Ribeiro landing damage from the mount and getting back control. Obviously, his round 10-9 outstruck him to 19-12. Second round here, a hard low kick and pressure from Ribeiro, and then a hard right hand from Ribeiro again, a hard knee. Holmes goes down, and that's the end of it. Holmes just got gassed out. He just looked uncomfortable out there. I don't know. Sometimes he looks good. Sometimes, he looks like this. He had that good fight against Jamie Pickett. Obviously, the win over Alan Amadovsky. Lost against Jung Young Park. And now lost to Claudio Ribeiro. The guy's got insane skills. He's a big dude. He's fast. He hits hard. He's just one of those guys who's real talented, but he just doesn't have the grit, Not like I do. I'm not criticizing him. I'm just saying, based off what we've seen, it just looks like he can't dig deep when he needs to kind of get it done. So that is it for the prelims. Thank you all for stopping by. If you're looking for the main event, the main card, that's in the last video. I did cover the ONE FC card from this weekend, ONE FC 10, One Fight Night 10. So go check that one out if you like that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you want to know when the next video is coming out, and I would super appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I love y'all.